I'm Khyra Steiner, and you're listening to Elaborate with K. Elaborate with K. Welcome back to Elaborate with K. So, Happy New Year. Happy 2025. We did it. We made it. Okay. So, for today's episode, I want to talk about New Year's. We're going to talk about New Year's, the new you idea. And yeah. So I thought this sweatshirt was very fitting. First of all, it says creative director. And I figured that this would be a good shirt to wear today because with the new year, you are now the creative director, not now, but you are the creative director of your own life. You kind of get to pick what kind of year you want to have. And obviously there are so many unforeseen circumstances and things that are way out of our control that we have absolutely no say or do over. But in general, you are the creative director of your own life and you kind of get to pick the path that you go down and you can put out what kind of year you would like to have into the year. So the title for today's episode is New Year, Same You, but Different. And why I chose this title and this theme and this topic for today's episode is I feel like with New Year's, you always hear New Year, new me, new year, new you. And I don't totally agree. I think that I understand the sentiment and I do enjoy the sentiment of New Year's being a chance to kind of, restart, fresh start, reflect on the past, have like a different path and everything. But I don't think that we need to emphasize or explicitly say that it's like new you or new person because you're not a new person. You don't need a drastic change to happen over the course of one day. Just because it turns midnight on January 1st does not mean that you have to become a completely different person. You don't need to be like the total exact opposite of you. Just if you're an introvert, you don't suddenly need to become an extrovert because January 1st happened and new year, new you. That's not really how it works. So I think that instead focus on still being you, making sure that you are not losing sight of who you are at your core. But just lean more into what makes you you, what makes you happy, like New Year's isn't a chance for you to, you can if you want to, but New Year's isn't intended for you to change personalities and become like a complete total 180 of like who you were. I think it's a chance for you to instead to like heighten doing what you enjoy, and it's a new chance to make yourself proud. So the way that I think of it is New Year's is a chance for you to kind of reset your intentions. Let's say you really want to focus on having a healthier lifestyle as like that's like your overall goal for the year is you want to have a healthier lifestyle. And I feel like it's so in our nature to be like, okay, January 1st started, like I'm changing everything. I'm changing my diet completely. I'm going to change my habits, my daily schedule. And you can do that. You can do that. But I feel like it's also really hard. And sometimes it helps to kind of change things one at a time and do it in bits and pieces, rather than like one drastic total shift all at once. And that's going to be like very jarring for you, honestly. So, if you do want to change your lifestyle, right? Maybe you start with, okay, I'm going to exercise twice a week. You change your exercise plan, or maybe you say, okay, and you're making your grocery list, right? And maybe you start switching out, instead of buying your favorite potato chips, you buy like a different brand of chips that's a little healthier. Or instead of buying chips at all, you start buying like granola bars or something like that, right? Like just like changing things bit by bit so that you're not drastically overwhelming yourself with trying to become a completely different person. Because the thing, my issue, I think, with the new year, new me sentiment, new year, new you sentiment, whatever, is that implies that there was something wrong with there is quote unquote old you, right? That any part of you that isn't the present, isn't old you, is a version of you that no longer exists. And that's not, I'm not saying this to say that, like, people don't change, because obviously we are human beings. Like, we change every single day, every month, every week, every year. Like, yes, obviously, you are going to change. You're not the same person that you were a year ago. You're not the same person that you were when you were a teenager or a little kid. But at the core of it, like, you are still you, right? Like, you still have your own personal beliefs and values and things that matter to you. And I think the thing with the new year, new me is it kind of implies that, like, you need to become a completely different person. And I don't think that you should have to compromise or put aside your values and the things that matter to you and the things that are important to you, to try to achieve this idea of, like, overall achievement and accomplishment that is felt by that new year, new me sentiment, right? Like, I don't know. I think for me, right? So the last episode was me going over my 2024 vision board and kind of like the things that I wanted to do and accomplish over the course of the year. And as you can tell, if you look at my board and you listen to me talking about it and like telling you the stories behind why I picked everything, none of those things were me wanting to drastically change like a part of my personality or a part of who I am. Yeah, I think that, the idea behind it and kind of with social media, it makes you feel like you need to be a completely different person. And it makes you feel like if you don't match the norm and the expectation and the lifestyle of all these people that we're seeing online, that like something needs to change within you. And that's not true. That is so not true. Like, everyone is on their own path, living their own life, and your life is not going to be the same as the social media influencer who lives in a high-rise apartment downtown and, is making money from just walking around and whatever it is. I don't know. Like, your lifestyle is going to be different from hers, and hers is going to be different from her neighbor across the street, who her neighbor across the street could also be an influencer, but they have completely different niches, so they're going to be on different paths. And it's just comparing yourself, and comparison is, what is that quote? It's like, comparison is the thief of joy. Is that it? I think that's it. I don't know. But just the idea that like comparing yourself to, whether it's other people, whether it's expectations for yourself that you have, that other people have, or whether it's a different version of you, like, that's not fair. That's not fair. Like, I feel like a lot of people, you might compare yourself to when let's say you had a different lifestyle and you were like in the gym every single day, and you're like, wow, like, she was so much better, but she was dealing with her own challenges. She had other things going on, and it's like, just because this one part of you is idealized and idolized in your brain doesn't mean that, yeah, that's not still you, you know? So I don't know. I just think that New Year's doesn't mean that you need to completely change everything about yourself and become a different person. I think that instead, think of it as a chance to kind of really you can reevaluate as a chance to kind of heighten and refocus on the things that matter a lot to you. So if you feel like, okay, if let's say, let's go back to, say you say, I want to live a healthier lifestyle, right? Take a look a little deeper and see what exactly that means, because I feel like a lot of times we come up with like these overarching themes and goals for ourselves, and it's just, I want to be healthier, I want to be more in shape, I want to be richer. But you kind of have to dig deeper and to see like what that actually means for you, right? So does having a healthier lifestyle for you mean eating cleaner? Does it mean exercising more? Does it mean just being more in tune with your body? Does it mean getting more sleep? Like, I feel like there's so many different avenues of things that we classify under like these huge umbrellas, and you're like, oh, okay, well, like I don't feel as confident, or I feel really tired and sluggish, so like I need to eat healthier and completely change my workout habits. Like maybe I'm doing the wrong type of exercise. I need to eat a totally different diet. I need to do all of these things. But I think that it's important to kind of narrow it down and narrow your focus, and especially when coming up with resolutions or goals for the year. I like doing a vision board because it's like, this is just what I would like my life to look like. Like these are things that I want to these are specific focuses that when I look back at the year, I want to look back and say, yes, I had a great track season, or yes, I had an amazing time spending time with my friends and living in the moment, and we made so many memories. Or like, yes, I took photos and I have photos that I can look back on from this year and like make me smile and I'm happy for. So I think that, just like I said, narrowing it down, because at the end of the day, I feel like you we generalize things so much to the point where it makes you feel like there is so many more things you need to work on, and then you get stressed and overwhelmed, and it's a jarring change to try to, you can't change absolutely everything at once. So I think it's important to, like I said, narrow down your focus, and see what goals you want to start with, or what objectives you have. And I think another important thing is making sure that you are being patient with yourself, right? So if you're setting a goal, or there's just something, a habit that you want to break, or a habit that you want to start, be patient with yourself. It takes so much time to change something, especially if it's like a habit or something. It takes time, and it's going to take time to see results, and it's going to take time just to feel like you've really truly accomplished what you accomplish. And so I think for me, like with my vision board, I actually made it the background on my iPad. So I would see it every day. Anytime that I go to open my iPad, whether it's for school or to like watch TV or play a game or like whatever it is I'm doing, I would see it, and it kind of embedded itself in my mind of like reminding myself of the things that I value and the things that are important to me. Because my vision board, for me, yes, I had just like goals and like things that I wanted to get out of all the different photos, like things that I associated with them. But for me, I chose those photos because I was like, this is what I would like to look back on this year and think about and like be happy about. It wasn't like, oh, I need to change this part about myself, right? Like when I put the photo of the gym, I didn't feel like I needed to completely change my workout routine. I just wanted to improve. I wanted to get stronger and feel more confident in the gym, right? And so I think that just taking a look at it, taking baby steps, right? Remembering that a year seems like a long time, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not. I'm not saying it's not a long time, but like, I don't know, you've lived how many other years, right? And it takes time for a habit to build, for relationships to build, and so just being patient with yourself and reminding yourself. So like, as I was trying to say earlier, is I made my vision board my background on my iPad so that I could see it anytime I was opening it, but I wasn't staring at it every single day, looking at it like, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. Like, oh, it's already June and I haven't traveled anywhere. Like, that's a problem. Like, I put it there because I also picked pictures that I just liked looking at, and I thought looked pretty and complemented each other. So it was like enjoyable to look at, but I wasn't looking at it every day, like trying to check off boxes on my list, because I think the whole point of like a vision board and making goals for yourself and objectives and like things that resolutions or things that you want to accomplish, is knowing that it takes time, and knowing that you're not going to see the results that you want right away. Like you're just not. That's really not how it works. And so I think that, reminding yourself that like it takes time, and it's okay if you're not where you want it to be right now, or like right at this point, because you still have the whole rest of the year, right? And so I think that I looked at my board and like actually like analyzed it and like went through the photos probably sometime in the summer, like halfway through, just to do like a little check-in and be like, oh, okay, well, like I've done these so far, and like that feels really nice, and like, okay, well, I still have another 6 months of the year, so there's still so much that's left to happen. and just think about like all of the things that you still have yet to come, right? And so making a goal in January, making your goal, your resolution, whatever it is that you want to call it, right? Just because you make it in January and just because you start right away doesn't mean that you are going to automatically feel like a completely different person or feel so much better in the middle of January or in February even. Like, things take time, and it's important to like let it, right? Like, let things take time, because I think the whole purpose of, for me at least, like the whole purpose of making goals and like New Year's goals is to kind of look back on them. And like, I like to look back on my year as a whole, right? Not specifically on one thing. And I'm not going to look back and be like, oh, well, I didn't travel in January, and so it wasn't right. Like, I'm gonna look back on my year as a whole, right? And just think about like, okay, this is everything that I've accomplished over the span of 12 months, a year, 365 days. I have been able to do this. And if you haven't been able to do everything that you wanted, or you didn't accomplish your goal to the T that you wanted, or like if your resolution is like to get a job or to get a new job, if you don't get your dream job, don't be hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up for it. Like, life is still happening. And New Year's, yes, New Year's is a way for you to kind of reframe. And I think it's a way to narrow down your focus and look at different things that you would like to improve on, things that make you happy, that you're like, I want to do more of this. I think that's what New Year's is for, but it's not a beginning and end all be all of where you want to be. Like, at the end of the day, no one is making a progress report of your entire life, right? Like, by the end of 2024, you don't need to be doing this or at a certain place. Like, you still have the entire rest of your life to go. And so don't let the title or the title of New Year's, New Year, New Me, don't let it scare you out of growing and improving and just living your life, because truly you have so much more life to live. And New Year's is one day. And honestly, yes, like, it'll take some time. It'll take just as, okay, I think just the same that it takes way, or whoa, just the same way that it takes you time to remember to write the new year when you're writing a date, right? If you're signing a paper, the same exact way that it takes you time to get used to writing 2024 instead of 2023, or it'll take you time to get used to writing 2025 instead of 2024, right? But you're not going to beat yourself up for that. Just the same way that it's going to take you time to get used to the change and get used to the new date, it's going to take time to see any type of results or to feel like you're actually changing or improving anything. Like, Rome wasn't built in a day. The world, like, the changes, improvements, things that you're going to look back on, they don't happen overnight. It doesn't happen at the snap of a finger or the drop of a hat or just between today and tomorrow. It takes time, and you just have to be patient and think and remember that like time is on your side and that things are going to happen, but you have to be patient and remind yourself that like at the I at the core of it all, you are the same person. It is still you. You're still you. And so instead of using New Year's as a way to feel like you need to change yourself, because you don't, because you're a person, you're whole, and you're imperfect. Everyone's imperfect. No one is going to be absolute. There is no such thing as perfect. There is no way to be absolutely 100% perfect in everyone's eyes. Like, everyone has their unique qualities and abilities, and that's what makes us human. That's what makes us our own unique people. And I think that's something to be proud of and not something to feel like you need to change. Okay? And like I said, like, comparison does so much more harm than good. I actually just wrote an essay about it. But comparison does so much more harm than good, and it's so important to remember that you are you. You are a whole person, and you are more than enough, more than okay. And yes, it is a new year, but the only thing that really changes is what month it is and what year you have to sign on the paperwork. Okay. At the end of the day, like between December 31st and January 1st, nothing has changed about your anatomy, about your DNA, makeup. You are the same person. And this is, if anything, this is just a chance to improve, to do more things that make you happy, do more things that make you proud of, have way more happy little moments, and just enjoy it. Live in your moment, live in the moment, and take it day by day. Okay? Day by day. And yeah, talk to you next Sunday.